Were you prepared for the violent storm that swept through our area this past week and all the damage that it left behind? I'm not talking about flashlights and water, but all of your necessary financial information in case of an emergency like this. Well, here to tell us what you need to do to prepare is financial planner and accountant Susan Bruno. Susan, along with her daughter Stephanie, has developed the personal financial website Diva CFO and its associated app to help us all get organized. Now, you have been in the financial world for a long time, and you saw that there was a real need out there. What were you seeing, and how did you think it needed to be changed?
I felt that it was really important for us to start engaging women to take control of their personal finances. And we want to empower women, but give them a platform that is fun and playful and frankly not intimidating. Mm-hmm. So Diva CFO is, you know, a clash of two words when you think of a diva and a CFO, but the idea is that we need to make a platform for women to take control. And with the month of September being National Preparedness Month by FEMA for flood, fire, and fury, we decided those 3 F's, we should add the 5 D's, which is death, divorce, disability, disaster, and debt. And we want women to take control of their personal finances before those occur.
Because much of the research shows that women are not as comfortable in managing their finances as men are. And I think probably if you're in a situation, we saw that woman in that video walking as this massive tree has fallen, whether it's on her property or her street, you know, you really have to start digging deep to find all that paperwork. So let's talk about what you need to do to be prepared for something like that, man or woman, but in particular for women. The first is stash the cash. I'll go through them all and then we'll talk about them.
Okay.
Run a fire drill on your estate plan, test your insurance coverage, check your health care documents, file and e-file everything. Stash the cash. A lot of folks don't keep a lot of cash, just they're concerned about security issues.
Yeah. My suggestion is twofold. The first is the immediate cash. I happen to be in New York on September 11th, and we're in a cashless society. You can't assume, A, that you can get to an ATM, or it's going to have money in it. And we actually had to get, you know, food that day. So I suggest to people to have, if you can afford it, take a $100 bill, fold it up, put a Post-it on it that says, for emergency use only, and tuck it into your wallet. So if you ever are in a true emergency, you actually will have cash. The second part of it is a little more obvious from the financial side and a tough goal, but we all need to work on getting 3 to 6 months living expenses in the bank, because if a disaster happens like the flood we just had, where you may be, you know, out of work, or you've had a personal situation that won't allow you to work, you need to be able to pay the bills.
All right, the next is to run a fire drill on your estate plan. Many folks say, I don't even have an estate plan.
Exactly.
But that's important. Tell me a little bit more about that.
That's the start, is do you have a will? And don't assume it's a rich man's game. A will is something that we all need, because without it, the state is actually going to decide where your money and where your minor children would go. And that's not something anyone wants. From a financial perspective, obviously that's what everyone focuses on with a will, but an estate plan is something that can be complex. For those of you who have it, I would guarantee that a month after you've designed your estate plan and signed your documents, you don't remember. So use the month of September to review it, see if it still honors your wishes.
Boy, know your insurance and the value of your home and the value of your assets and how they're insured properly. That is something that we buy an insurance policy, we tuck it in the drawer, we tuck it in an e-file, and then we never look at it again.
Right. We say apply the Goldilocks test. Not too much, not too little, just right. Go through every bit of insurance coverage you have and what you might need as well, and see if maybe you can increase deductibles in one area in order to be able to afford insurance like long-term care insurance. Ladies, pay attention. This is time you need to start looking at whether you need long-term care, and that's the one focus for women in particular. Don't assume you can't afford it.
Okay. And your health care, speaking of long-term care, but even the event of a car accident or an accident on your property or whatever it might be, an illness that takes you by surprise and turns out to be a chronic illness, you really have to know what you're covered for, don't you?
Yeah, and we actually, to segue into our next tip of healthcare documents, make sure you have a HIPAA release for HIPAA release, also a living will and a healthcare proxy.
All right, so let's go back. HIPAA release is?
HIPAA release is so you have the opportunity. For example, my son's off at college. He has a sinus infection. I want to talk to his doctor. They can't talk to me because he is already
He's
over 18.
18. Yeah.
And most people don't realize, because we think of them as our dependents, that we really do need this. It's a simple form, actually at divacfo.com. My sister happens to be a healthcare attorney. She gave us access to a free universal form for both a HIPAA release and for a healthcare proxy that anyone can print and sign and use for themselves.
All right, yeah, we're running out of time. So
Yeah.
all this information is on divacfo.com.
Yes.
There's also an associated app that
Yeah.
helps you kind of file all of your paperwork. And then there is an event. Tell me briefly about the event
Yeah.
coming up in Darien on October 25th.
We are really excited to be helping women in all areas of their finance, but we want to do it in a fun way, and why not make it part of a spa service? And the Elizabeth Arden Red Door Spa has actually asked us to participate to help women from the financial side, but give them a give back in mini spa services during the event.
All right, Susan, good having you in the program. That's it for 12 on the Money. See you next week.